Hello and welcome everyone to the. I might have started a second too soon. Well, doesn't matter. Hello and welcome to the CNC with Dave Gatton show. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I see we already got a good crowd over there in the chat, and I don't know if I've ever told you guys this or not, but I really like when you put hello from wherever you're from, because that way I get to see where everybody's at. I see we've had a few from Kentucky. There's one from Des Moines, Iowa, from Old Stomping Grounds, Indianapolis. Good to see everybody tonight. Hope everybody had a great. And look who popped in right after I go live.
Sorry,
that's why we were late. We were waiting on you, but Mr. Miter Mike himself. Yeah, we were kind of trying to hold it up for you there. But since you're here now, Mike, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself before I get started rambling on?
Sure. My name is Michael Murray. I'm with Miter Mike's Woodshop. I could be found on all social media as Miter Mike's Woodshop.
All righty, and thanks for making it tonight, Michael.
Not a problem.
And, of course, I've got my usual sidekick here, Mr. Javi. Javi, you want to say hello?
Yep. Evening all. Javi from Javi's Woodshop on YouTube. Have a wonderful show.
All righty. Thank you for being here. I see we got South Carolina, Maryland, Athens, Georgia, Watertown, New York, Seymour, Wisconsin, another one from Kentucky. I started saying Miami, and then I realized that's you, Javi.
Tulsa, Alabama, Melbourne, Michigan. Melbourne, Australia, that is, not Melbourne, Florida. Making sure I'm clear.
Lyle is an Iowan living in Canada. Okay. Michigan, Melbourne, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Good day, Rob. All the way from Australia. Glad you're with us tonight. We're going to talk a little bit. The topic tonight is going to be laptops versus desktops. We're going to talk about some of the pros and cons of each one of those. And like I said, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Did you have a good Thanksgiving, Mike?
Yeah, we had a nice Thanksgiving and ate a lot of vegetables. I don't really like turkey unless it's from a deli.
All right. Yeah, good. How about you, Javi? Good Thanksgiving?
That's ironic. I don't like vegetables. Yeah, I had a great Thanksgiving. Still having a great Thanksgiving. I've been eating leftovers but we had a big variety. Really odd, though. My daughters asked for Japanese food. So it was the oddest of Thanksgiving. No turkey, no meatloaf, Japanese fried rice and all that stuff.
Wow. Okay. Well, I spent, I went to Publix and I bought myself some turkey, some cranberry sauce, some mashed potatoes and mac and cheese. And I spent probably a good, 12, 13 minutes slaving over a hot microwave.
There you go.
I had myself a feast. It was awesome. Yep. But so big shout out to Publix. There you go. Okay. All right. I want to see a show of hands here. I see everybody still putting where they're from. I love seeing that. That's because I always see a lot of familiar names and stuff over there, but a lot of times don't really know where you're coming from. Cool. I want to see a show of hands, though, and this includes you and Mike, Javi. How many folks are already sick and tired of the Black Friday sale emails?
Yeah, you don't have to say that twice.
Oh, my God. Harbor Freight, God love them. They're the absolute worst. And what's really bad,
but it's like 92% off, though, Dave.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you get like an email notification every 10 minutes from them. It's like their marketing thing is boom. You know, they're like crazy. and of course the Lowe's and Home Depot, which I regularly buy from, so I'm on their little list and stuff. I'm trying to think of who else, but yeah, the Harbor Freight one's just oh, of course the Amazon thing. I'm always getting emails suggesting something they want me to spend my money on. But holy cow, Harbor Freight, man, they don't play.
Yeah, I had a good experience with them. They sent that. I don't know if they sent it to everybody, but they sent me one of those $15 off for the items that they normally don't exclude, like generators. And just so happens I had just finished buying a generator, so returned it and bought another one at 15% off.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hadn't bought anything from them in a pretty good while, and there's a store over in Conyers, I don't know, 10, 15 miles from me, I guess. And I go over there every once in a while. If I'm happening to go through that way, I'll stop in there at the Harbor Freight and get stuff. But I got all these Black Friday things, and started getting them a week ago or longer. And I always kind of scroll through them just see if anything catches my eye, like I need to buy anything. And something did, and they got me on one. So I ordered it, and I'm thinking, man, I shouldn't have ordered. I should have waited till way after the holidays, because now it's like every 10 minutes I'm getting an email update for these new sales, Black Friday this. So crazy. Anyway, also, before we get started talking about laptops and desktops, I want to talk about the Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge. It's officially kicked off yesterday, Black Friday, and will run through December 24th, 11:59 p.m. So I hope everybody's, after you recover from your all eating all that turkey and stuff, that you hey TJ, he's out there.
So Dave, what exactly for entry? What are the rules for entry? Let's say I have made something for the Christmas challenge.
Well, let me just tell you about that, Javi. Let me just pull that right up here and tell you.
Cool.
All you have to do to be officially entered into the Christmas challenge is, one, you have to think of a Christmas project, a Christmas themed project. What you're going to make. You have to use a CNC. Javi and I were talking about that before the show. The whole reason I started this challenge 3 years ago was because a lot of the challenges that are out, they don't want you to use a CNC, and some, if you do, I think they kind of frown on it anyway, because they consider it faux woodworking or whatever. But anyway, that's why I created this challenge. It's specifically for CNC peoples. So you come up with a project that you want to make, and you produce a short video, 10 minutes or less, upload it to your YouTube channel, and then send yours truly the link to the YouTube video, and also your contact info and stuff. So I have your shipping address and stuff. You don't have to do it then, but it's easier if you just do it all right then. And then in the body of in the subject line of the email, put 2018 Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge, so that I can spot it easily amongst all the Black Friday sale emails that I get. And I can put it into a separate folder and create the playlist and all that. And also, like I said, in the body of the email, include the link to the video and your name, address, phone number, whatever kind of contact info I might need from you. And this challenge is open to everyone, not just people in the U.S. Anybody can enter, no matter where you live. And let's see, what else? Oh, and as far as if you want to do more than one project, you're welcome to do a half a dozen if you want. But, I only want one project in each video. So if you're going to do 3 different projects and want those to be in, then there needs to be 3 different videos, separate video for each one. And then I guess that's it. And then we'll announce the I guess I hate to say winners because really everybody's a winner if you get out there and make something for your shop. But we'll have some prizes. I'm gonna put up a good bit of stuff here. I thought I might do. I think I did a bunch of gift cards last year. And I think, I don't know, gift cards are kind of impersonal and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do this year is do Jim Burt, Roll Tide, buddy over there in the chat. I'm going to do like let people choose from a list of different things like T-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, travel mugs, shop aprons, pretty much any of the stuff that I've got on my my little merch site there, and then I'll just because that way I can get the right size. If you get a shirt or something, I can get you the size and all that and stuff instead of just doing the gift cards. And I have I contacted Mike Ziegler from Klingspor. And Mike was nice enough to say he would help with sponsoring a prize, and they're going to be in for a $25 gift certificate for the Klingspor woodworking store, and they have all kinds of cool stuff. And I also want to give a shout out to Roy Baker. Roy, if you're out there in the chat, say something. I don't know if you're out there, but he has a handheld pendant. I haven't got it from him yet. He said he just put it in the mail, but it's he says it's one just like what I have, the hand wheel pendant, and he's going to donate that as a prize. So, and I may come up and like I said, I may end up getting some other stuff, maybe some more pendants, maybe. Who knows, maybe a UC 100, something like that. But we'll try to come up with, I'll kind of wait and see how many entries we get in. I think we had 16 the first year, and I think 17 the year after that or something. But, I'll try to make sure that we get enough prizes where everybody that enters will at least get something. So
grand prize could be a scroll saw pattern.
A scroll saw pattern? Are you saying you're going to donate one, Michael?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, we'll put you down for that then. Okay. Anybody have any questions about the challenge or anything? How many folks? Let's see a show over there in the chat. How many folks have already started or at least have a plan to enter the challenge? I'll give them a minute to come up. Javi, thank you for posting those links.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
And by the way, in the show notes, there should be links to the Javi's channel.
And Mike's.
I think I forgot Mike's again. I got to put.
That's I just put it down.
Okay, Mike's right there. But there's also a link to the website page where it's talking about the Gatton CNC Christmas Challenge. So, you can check that out, and you'll see the same kind of stuff I just talked about. Andrew Higgs says he has an idea or a request from the wife. Yep. Matt Haas from Awesome Wood Things. My plan is to start planning. Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and put Matt's Maker's Rock on there as well.
Yeah. Y'all need to check out Matt Haas. Does some awesome
wood things.
Well, yeah, he does some awesome wood things, but he does some awesome live streams too. He does one at 6 o'clock on Mondays, the Adobe, where he teaches Adobe stuff. And one of my favorites is the one at 7 o'clock, where it's all things YouTube, where he talks about how you can build your YouTube channel and all the YouTube news and stuff. Great stuff. So, and of course, the Makers Rock thing, which I'm going to be entering this year. First time. So I've already started on mine a little bit. I haven't really cut anything yet, but I'm working on the computer on it. So hopefully I can get that knocked out pretty quick. All right. Anybody got, Javi, you and Mike, got anything you want to talk about before we get started on this tonight's topic?
No, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
I've got, my friend Eloy has put together a website called makerpatterns.com. I always like to plug him. It's in case some of you newbies are interested in some scroll saw or CNC patterns. They're almost interchangeable, so to practice on. And obviously my weekly,
get busy making some Christmas ones so they can do the.
Yep. They're I'm sure they're listening out there and going to be doing some Christmas ones pretty soon. Not next Friday, I'll be out of town, but the following Friday on my CNC with Javi, I will be working on Christmas stuff. So tune into my channel for that, if you please.
Okay. And also, of course, we mentioned the patterns, Eloy, and what's that called again? Makerpatterns.com or something?
Makerpatterns.com.
But I also want to give a shout out to Steve Good.
Steve Good. Mm-hmm.
He's got
Absolutely.
in fact, I got a couple of them I downloaded the other day. I haven't cut them yet, but I was going to try to do a little something myself, not for the challenge so much, but just to show people that you can get these things and real easily turn a scroll saw pattern into
your
little Christmas project for your CNC.
Yep, I just had a show on that recently, so if anybody wants to, peek back at the show and see the how to turn a pattern from how to auto trace and basically turn a regular bitmap pattern into a CNC, by all means.
Yeah, somebody's asking for a link.
We'll be doing it over and over and over. So
I'm not sure what. Are you looking for the link for Steve Good?
I'm going to put those up right now.
Okay. I can never remember because it's something.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is just Google search Steve Good, and it's too long to actually.
Yeah, it's got something
remember
or something like that. I can never remember. I have it bookmarked on my browser. So I can find it. But he has just a ton of stuff, and everything he's got is free.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, patterns are a dime a dozen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy how he gets one every day. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah,
and they're all free.
I know he's got. I mean, what has he got? Like a couple thousand or something on that?
It's pages and pages long.
Yeah, because I went there the other day and just searched Christmas, and just under the Christmas category, there's a bunch of stuff. So lots of stuff. So anyway, those are some good places to look. Last week we talked about inspiration. Scroll saw patterns was one of them, but as far as finding inspiration to do a Christmas project for your CNC, it shouldn't be hard to find that, because that's all over. Just don't do a Harbor Freight Black Friday sale thing. Oh.
Now I have to think about how to do it.
No, all we do, Tavi, we could take a picture of their coupon and cut it in a CNC and then send it to Dave.
There you go.
Yeah, he'd love that.
Sean Rubino in the house. How you doing, Sean? Haven't seen you in a long time.
Hey, how's it going, Sean?
All right, let's talk about laptops and desktops. And again, let me do a kind of an informal poll out there in the chat. How many folks are running? If you're running a laptop, you're running your CNC with a laptop. Put laptop as a comment, and if you're running it with a desktop, put desktop. And if you're running it with Arduino or Raspberry Pi or whatever, because I know somebody out there is. I saw Ryan Ballard just put other Raspberry Pi or whatever. Okay, I see a laptop, desktop. Oh, a bunch of laptops. There's that Raspberry Pi I knew would pop up. Desktop. Very old desktop.
Sorry, I have 11.
Desktop, desktop, desktop. Laptop.
A lot of CNC machines.
Okay, desktop. It started out with a lot of laptops, but I would guess that desktop would win that poll there. Desktop to smoothie board, Windows 98 desktop. Okay. Well, we're going to try to talk about some of the pros and cons of both. I don't know really where to start.
Keith has a Windows 98 desktop.
Hey, I've got one out there, and I'm not using it anymore because I've since replaced it. But I didn't replace it because it quit working. It was so slow, and not. I mean, it would run Mach 3 fine because you don't need a lot of horsepower to run Mach 3. But I also had VCar Pro on it. And it got to where when you go to do the simulation, it was too old for that, and it got to be pretty slow. So I finally got another desktop from my old buddy Michael Chipser, and it's running Windows 7, I think. So it's a good bit faster, but. As far as the pros and cons, one of the pros for using a desktop is it's kind of a more permanent thing. So, and when I say desktop, I'm speaking about a dedicated desktop that you leave out there, and that's all it's for, is to run your machine. So it's more of a permanent thing, which means you can kind of put it in a spot, or hopefully you'll put it in a spot where it's out of the way of some of the dust, whether it be in a cabinet or wherever, some kind of enclosure, stuff like that, where keep the dust out of it. Another advantage, I think, to a desktop over a laptop is, of course, with a laptop, it's real easy to get dust in the keyboard because most of the time you're going to have it open so that you can see the screen and stuff like that. And I have a desktop right over here. I keep looking over this way. I'm looking at my desktop, and this is one I used when I first built my Gatton out there. And I have trouble. The shift key doesn't work every time. You got to press really hard, and I know it's because I got dust and stuff in it. So that's one disadvantage about a desktop. The other thing, a laptop. The other thing with a desktop, if you get dust in the keyboard, you can just throw it away and get another one. This is a cheap. I even got the Amazon link down there for this. This is a wireless Logitech K400. I think it was less than $20, and so, or if you're using all these kind, whether you still use one with a USB cord or whatever, they're all $15-20, or probably less than that if you want to go to Wallet World or something.
Do they still make the plastic thing that goes over the keys anymore? Remember years ago we used to have the plastic thing that went over the keyboard?
Well, they make so many different kind of keyboards, so it'd probably be hard to find one just for that. I have out in my shop, I have I have a saran wrap wrapped around it.
I made one. All I did was measure exactly where the cable came out from, and sometimes comes out left, middle, right, or wireless. And I took a 1.5-inch 2x6, just pocketed out a hole with and cut a slit for the thing, and whoosh, it fits over the whole keyboard, keeps the dust away.
Hmm. Yeah, I use the clear wrap like you wrap food up with, and some packing tape. Wrapped it up and then took some packing tape to stick it together. And
yeah, the one in here gets a vacuuming once every couple months, and I haven't had a problem with it in 3 years. So
yeah, so that's probably where a desktop would shine over a laptop is. You can, and plus if you have a wireless keyboard like this or similar, whatever kind you have, you can take it and move it clear out of the way. If you move it across the other side of the shop or something, if you have to, and that way you'll keep the dust out of it. Let's see, what's
Arthur had a question. Arthur, last name, I'll get it in a second. Arthur Lynch. He's a disabled disabled American vet, and he was curious to know how he can get into CNC. Scroll back to the question. Trying to get into CNC to pass the time. He wants to build one himself. I don't know if you want to.
Well, the Gatton CNC kits that I sell are very inexpensive. That's why they're so popular, is because it doesn't take a big bank account to get into CNC, and it also gives you the opportunity to to build a thing yourself. And save money. And again, with the kit, you get the plywood parts and stuff, and then the other stuff, you don't have to buy it all at once. You can buy it over time. And again, that's probably why these things have sold as well as they have, is because you can get in, it's a good bang for the buck, and you don't have to have a big upfront cost like you do if you're buying, a turnkey machine, because you're buying all that all at once. But everything I sell is a DIY kit. In other words, you save money because you put in what I like to refer to as sweat equity. They're not for everybody. Some people would prefer to buy it and bring it home, take it out of the box and plug it in and go. And that's fine. If there's all kinds of people make the world go around. So if they want that, that's fine. But mine are for people who like to get their hands dirty a little bit and save themselves money. Even with the Garage Works, I have options where they can buy just the rolling chassis, and they can buy the lead screws themselves and get the all the other stuff, or they can buy that part from me too, and I'll do that for them. But I give them the opportunity to do some more of the work, to try to save themselves some money. So I would suggest take a look at the web. The DaveGatton.com website has the Gatton CNCs on it. You can find out information about those. And then, of course, there's a GarageWorks CNC website, which has the GarageWorks stuff.
Yeah. Poll around, half the people, including myself, half the people on the chat have a Gatton, and I haven't heard a single regret, so that's a beautiful thing. It's a solidly built machine, solidly designed machine. How you build it, well, that's not Dave's fault.
Yeah, well, I've tried to make it where it's easy, and
well, it's totally customizable. You can make it different sizes.
I hate to say idiot proof, but you know, everything is pretty much where you should be able to lay it up there, and it should reasonably square itself as you're building it and stuff like that. I mean, you still have to do a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, there's I don't know how many folks out there. We got 79 people watching right now. I'd be willing to bet probably half of them, just from the names I've seen scroll by, have Gatton CNC. So,
yeah, Kapil Sharma is asking about hybrid servo motors. We mostly deal with we don't deal with servos around here. It's mostly stepper motors, and frankly, that's probably you're better addressed at a different forum if you're asking about how many kilograms you need, because I mean, I have all those numbers for the Gatton.
Yeah, the servo motors are, I mean, if you want to go that route, you can, but you know, the cheap stepper motors work fine for the kind of hobby machines we're talking about. So
servos are more for industrial machines that need the constant position sensors and everything, but yeah, not for a building a machine on a budget.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? We may turn this into a Q&A instead of a laptop thing. Okay, the other thing, getting back to our laptop thing.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you a question. How do you get, when you design all your patterns and stuff that you do, how do you get it from one computer to the other? You have like a stick that you transfer, or you transfer it over the web, or?
This right here is what I use most of the time. And this is a hell of a, I don't even know what brand it is. It's all, the name has been worn off. Maybe a Pony or whatever.
Yep, most useful tool that you can, that a CNC guy can
have. This thing here has even been through the washer and the dryer. It still works amazingly. I don't know. And I got a ton of stuff on it. Not, I mean, and it wouldn't matter if I lost it, because I've got it all on other computers too. But yeah, I left it in my pocket one time and washed it. And then when I realized I washed it, I'm like, well, might as well dry it, you know. And so I threw it back in the pocket, and threw it in the dryer and dried it, and got it, put it in, and boom, there it went. It's still working. So, but yeah, I don't. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about too, is the you know, with our laptop desktop thing, is I know that there's a lot of folks that want to have a computer out in their shop. They want to run their CNC, and they want to update their Facebook status, and they want to watch YouTube videos and all that good stuff. But I can tell you, if you really want to be serious about running your hobby CNC, or whatever kind of CNC for that matter, get you a dedicated computer and keep that thing off the internet. You don't, you know, that's why I use these to go back. I usually do all my programming sitting right here where I am now. I've got VCar Pro on here, and of course I also have it out there in the shop too. So if I screw up and need to fix something, I can do it right there instead of having to come back in the house. But you know, if you're gonna either use these or have one of those, what do you call it, Javi, a LAN network? Is that what you call it?
Local area network. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, where it's just tying your computers together, but stay off the dang internet, because you're going to have problems. Yeah. You're going to get, and here's where the problem, or some of the problems happen. You know, and it's another reason why I'm not a real big fan of a laptop, and why I switched to a desktop, is you're going to have programs, whether it be Windows or, you know, your Adobe Reader or whatever. You're going to have stuff that, if you're tied to the internet, is going to be wanting to do updates at the most inopportune times. You know, you just have all kinds of stuff going on. and I guarantee you, it's only going to cause you problems. So, yeah, it's a little more work to use a thing, or if you don't have a local area network, but you won't have a 5-hour carving job ruined in the middle of it because Windows decided it needed to reboot or something like that. So anyway, to me, that's the big pro for a desktop is if you have a desktop out there. And when I say desktop, I'm not talking about something new. I'm talking about, an old beater, as long as it'll run. Back a few years ago, I used to always tell people to find one with the parallel port and all that. But in recent years, they've come out with all these CNC motion controllers, the smooth stepper. They have a USB smooth stepper. They've got an Ethernet smooth stepper. There's a UC 100, a UC 300, a UC 400. Some of those are Ethernet. Some of those are USB. So now I tell folks that even if you have an old beater computer that has the parallel port, do yourself a favor. Get yourself at least the UC 100, which is the cheaper one. I think it's about $100 or so, because you'll be amazed how much smoother that machine runs versus the old parallel port.
Yeah, and speaking of security, I and back to the topic of networks. On my computer, I have two separate networks. I have the one going out, which only goes to one computer, and I have the internal one, which connects all my other computers. It's physically on a separate card, so it's a separate system. You don't want, particularly with the old beater computers that Dave is describing, if you're running Windows 98 or Windows XP, Microsoft has stopped supporting it. They don't give updates anymore. There's a lot of new security protocols that those machines are very susceptible if you have them on the internet, to hackers. So again, I can't stress enough, take it off the internet.
Yeah, because let's think about everybody that's standing out in their shop watching their computer or their CNC running, everybody's probably got one of these in their pocket. That's a computer right there. So if you need to update your Facebook status or take a selfie or something, you can do it right there without having to have the internet connected to your machine running to your computer running to your machine, I should say. But yeah, so and again, the laptops, the other thing I don't like is not just the the Wi-Fi kicking in and stuff trying to update, and your virus protection software, because even if you turn it off when you go out there to run your machine, as I used to do when I had this laptop, I would go out there and I'd turn the Wi-Fi off so that I wouldn't have anything connected to the internet. Well, you got other stuff that's already downloaded at another time, and like I said, then it decides that it's going to install it. So you have all kinds of stupid stuff going on, and it's just a pain in the butt. And laptops, because they run on batteries, they always have these kind of power saving features built in, and they're a pain in the butt to go find every last one of them and make sure that you say, never turn the monitor off, never go to sleep. You have to go find every single one of them, because if you miss one, well, guess what? There goes that 3-hour carve right in the middle when the one you missed.
Laptops,
and that's going to happen.
It'll happen eventually.
Laptops tend to have the battery saving features always on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's by design. That's because they don't want you to, they want the battery to last. But that's just the screensavers. What if you all of a sudden you need to hit a button on the screen and you can't because your screensaver's locked you out, or just crazy stuff like that. It's
Carrie O'Connor was asking how many PCs can Vectric be downloaded to. I know in 9.5.1, they're getting better and better with the having it activated over the internet. The 8.9.9.0 and 8.5, I believe you can put them on 3 officially. Unofficially, some of them you could download to numerous computers. You can only have one active at one time because, well, the license
I think
has one computer.
That's pretty much the way they've done is they don't, you can put it on multiple computers. They just don't want you to be using all. And of course, in my case, I can't because I can't be 3 places. I got it here, I've got it out in the garage, and I've got it in the shop. So there's 3 places, but I'm never using but one at a time because I can't be in all 3 places.
Yeah, Scott Wilson is asking about the specs of a computer that works best for what you're talking about. Cheap computer, 8 gig. I mean, anything that can run Windows 98 is pretty much. It does not take much to run the Mach 3 at all.
If the main thing is, if we're talking about, let's say Mach 3 or UC CNC software, one of those kinds of softwares, Linux CNC. Well, Linux is a whole nother animal, but the Mach 3 or UC CNC, and then even if you want to put VCar Pro on there too, which again, that's really all you should ever have on that computer that you're going to use to run that machine. You don't need all that other junk.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. That's all you should be doing. But every one of I stress this every time this subject comes up, every one of my CNCs have a machine attached to them that does nothing else. Why? Because I've already learned from that mistake. If you start surfing the internet or doing this or doing that, you need a constant connection and flow of information going to the CNC. Whereas if you get stuck, let's say I'm on a Hangout or something, and the flow of information stops, well, then the Hangout will pause. Another program, it'll pause. The CNC will not pause. It will crash if there's not a constant flow of information. It doesn't take much. It's very, very primitive, but it needs the constant. It cannot pause. I can't stress that. That's so when you're having issues with a CNC, most likely it's not the power of the computer, it's the data flow through a parallel port, through a USB or whatever, or something is interrupting it.
Yeah, I see some questions over there. Troy Pritchett is there a minimum requirement of RAM and video to make a dependable computer for CNC? I'm telling you, folks, you don't need much. I mean, because like I said, it's going to run the operating system in Mach 3 or UC CNC, which doesn't need much at all. And actually, VCar Pro probably uses more resources when you're doing the simulation and stuff like that. And with the graphics card than Mach 3 or the other. You don't need much at all. I mean, so, any old beater that you find from, pawn shop or whatever is probably going to work. If it'll turn on and boot up, it'll probably run Mach 3.
Yeah, my vinyl cutters run on a CNC, on a computer with Windows 95, a Pentium 4, and 1 gig of memory. I think it's 1 gig. It might be a little less. And there's no difference between that software and Mach 3.
Matt Haas says, I edit video, render 3D images, and post to Facebook while running my CNC and have lots of problems. I'll stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I have always had a dedicated thing, except for the brief time when I first built that Gatton and I tried using this laptop. And in fact, I've got another laptop that's identical to this that I bought at a pawn shop for the purpose of using those with a CNC. But I just don't like using laptop. And here's another thing that I wrote down that I haven't mentioned yet. If you have a dedicated desktop, an old beater out there, and you don't have to worry about if you have a laptop sitting out there, you walk and you trip over a cord or something, or you bump it and knock it off. Well, guess what? The laptop's going to break when it hits that concrete floor. And that's the other thing I didn't like about that, because laptops, they're not. I mean, when you got them open like this, they just don't.
Not the stablest of creatures.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. They're just more of a chance of knocking it off and busting it, or like I said, the dust getting in the keys and the keys quit working and stuff can be a real pain.
So I should stop running my CNC with the laptop on top of the gantry? Don't do that anymore?
Yeah, that might want to think about a desktop.
Well, better than running it with the laptop under the gantry.
Yeah, and like I said,
holding the piece of wood up.
I'm sure there's folks out there using a laptop that are probably still going to continue to use a laptop after the show, and that's fine. But I can just tell you, one of these days you're going to be cussing it, because all these things I've talked about, one of them will catch up to you, and it'll happen in the middle of a long run and a job where you're on a deadline or something, and you'll be going, oh yeah, I know why Dave said to not use a laptop out there. Patrick's is in the house.
Welcome. Late as usual.
Welcome, Patrick's.
Only 50 minutes.
Yeah. If not, it wouldn't be Patrick.
Hello, Stephen. Stephen Penn. I don't know if I've seen that name before. Welcome. All righty. So we've beat laptops to death here, I think.
Yeah, the reason why I asked you how you get your software back and forth, or your code back and forth, because I've been lately using the Dropbox, and saving, because I do everything pretty much inside, because my shop isn't heated or anything. So I'll go out there and then I'll pick it up on that laptop out there that's connected to the CNC and do it. I mean, I do have a desktop that I can eventually hook up to it, but I'm gonna have to get a little stick then to transfer back and forth.
Yeah, well, either that or you could, create your own little local network, or whatever. But I've been, these things are cheap. Like I said, I've had this one. I can't even remember how long I've had it. It's old, and like I said, it's been through the washer and the dryer, and still works. But my workflow is to draw something. Ooh, man. One of the dogs just cut the cheese back there or something. I'm telling you. You see the paint peeling off the walls here. That's what it is. Good job, Rocky. He's down to sleep. Didn't even know he did it, probably. Now I forgot what I was talking about.
They're cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap, but my workflow is I draw stuff here, because this is also, I have a separate computer over here that I have the CAD software on, so which isn't connected to the internet, by the way. Not that it couldn't be, but it just didn't. So I'll usually model something up there, or I'm actually tried to do, unless it's something 3D, which I don't do very often, but I've tried to make myself do more of the actual drawing in VCarve Pro, and I've still got a long way to go. I'm much faster using my old stuff, but yeah, but I'll draw stuff up, draw it in VCarve Pro, and put the tool pass on it. And I'll make sure, as everybody knows, you have to save 2 programs. You save the VCarve Pro file, which is just the design file or whatever you want to call it. And you save the toolpaths. Well, I'll save them to the hard drive, the C drive. So, and I usually put everything in a folder to try to keep it fairly organized. And then I'll throw this thing in there, and then I'll go grab that whole folder and just pull it onto here. Now, if I did draw it in the other CAD software, I won't get the CAD files because they don't do me any good. Take those out there. But I'll usually take the VCAR profile and the however many text files I have for that project, and I take them out there, and then I copy that folder and put it on whichever machine I'm going to run. And then that way, since I have the VCAR profile out there, if something happens and I go, well, that doesn't quite fit, I need to tweak this, I can do it out there if I want, instead of having to come back in the house. The only bad thing about that is if somebody sees that I made something and they go, man, I'd like to make that, can you send me the file? Then I have to remember which machine I ran it on and go get that file, because if I made any changes, it won't be on the one in here, because I don't put them back on here and bring them in here and update that. I just do it, because usually everything I run is a one-shot deal. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I started doing it in Dropbox, because I had it on here, and I emailed it to myself, and I picked it up on the outside computer, and I noticed something, and I changed it. And then when I came back in here and I was doing something, I was like, didn't I change that? And so I said, forget about this stupid thing.
Yeah, what's really bad is if I've had people watch my YouTube videos, and they'll see something that I did like 3 years ago, and go, man, can I get that file from you or whatever? And I'm like, I don't even remember, what I ran it on, which computer, because I got 3 laptops. I've got, well, counting in here, 3 desktops, and then 1 at each machine. I got so many computers, and it's hard for me, and then I don't want to send it to somebody, because if I don't know it's the right one.
Yeah, if it takes under a minute to make, I don't even bother saving them. It's more trouble.
Well, usually the stuff I do takes a little more than that. But
yeah.
I see we had somebody from Austria in there. Welcome all the way from Austria. Boy, we're getting all international and stuff, aren't we?
There you go.
Okay. But anyway, like I said, you can use a laptop if you want, but you'll thank me down the road if you just get a. The cool thing to do is, if Christmas is coming up, buy yourself a really nice laptop for the house, and then take your old one, put it out there at your machine. You don't have to buy. I see people they say, well, what kind of, would a gaming computer work good for a CNC? And I'm like, it's way overkill.
Yeah.
No, you don't need all that stuff.
Not that I'm going to ever do it, but can you run 2 machines off one computer?
Not at the same time.
You'd have to have, you can open up more than one application of Mach 3, but I would think that it
locks up. It
would get confused.
Well, I've tried it before. What happens is, I don't care how many threads, how many cores you have. They're practically, think of it as a direct connection. Any interruption in the flow of information, it'll see it as it'll take it the wrong way.
Right. Ryan Ballard says, hey, Dave, does Harbor Freight have any good deals on laptops? I don't know. If you'll wait 10 minutes, I'll check my email. I'm sure I probably got another notification. Ryan got 4 or 5 since we've been on this show.
If you like, I believe I can, it'll take me a while to find it, but I have a 20% off coupon.
Yeah, Larry Duggar makes a good point. He says, if you network, you wouldn't have to worry about which machine it was on or if the program is up to date. Yeah, I suppose. or backup files to a USB external hard drive. Yeah, you can do that.
Patrick's.
I have I just bought
Patrick,
one.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say I just bought one probably a couple of months ago. It's right back under behind my monitor here, but it's like an 8 terabyte external hard drive.
Yeah, I saw one the other day for I was surprised, $179, something like that.
That was a 10 terabyte.
For a 10 terabyte, yeah,
it was at Best Buy.
Incredible, yeah.
I was gonna get it, but I haven't filled up my 2 terabyte yet. So,
yeah. Patrick was joking around earlier of some time ago. We say it so often in our little groups, oh, I did that before, I did that before, I did that before. So I went out personally and I bought ididitbefore.com, the website, and linked it to my website. So whenever somebody says I did it before, well, I got the website first.
Yep. All right. I don't know how are we doing on time here. Yeah, we started a little late, but we're right at an hour. Anybody got any other things they want to ask or talk about or whatever? I think we pretty much covered it. Like I said, people are going to use what they want to use. If they got a laptop that works and they're using it, they're probably going to keep on using it, but eventually it'll burn you. That's all I'm going to say. Eventually it'll get you. So
let's see.
USB. Yeah. I don't know how I say that name. Is it Amalia?
Amalia. She says her CNC is.
What kind of CNC do you have?
USB.
Amalia. If you post that in the chat. I had. Well, I'll wait and see what she says. I use my cell phone to run my Shapeoko. Yeah, you can do that with those toy CNCs. Just kidding, Patrick's. Just kidding.
Yeah, but what happens when his I'm sorry, I was about to ask what happens when his power goes out, but I'm sure he has a hamster lying around that he can power that Shapeoko with.
Yeah. All right. I don't see any questions. I guess we can wrap this up.
Yep. Hey, do you shut your controller box off every night, or how long you leave it on for?
You should turn it off.
Okay.
Well, the reason I say you should turn it off is because when you have the controller box on, you're pumping. First of all, it's using up a considerable amount of energy just to keep those motors locked in. And the motors, the stepper motors, will tend to get hot. I mean, they shouldn't, but it also depends on how well balanced your machine is. Like in my case, with the vertical CNC going sideways, when it's off, it'll it's going to always be putting out power, but yeah, definitely. You don't want to overtax the system, and that's not normally what I say, because computers, I'm an advocate of leaving them on all the time. The hard drives shut them down because they're mechanically moving parts, but the computers, it's the startup and the big surge of power, which, like a light bulb, which is usually what the failure point when it often fails. So leaving it on all the time is a little less stressful on it.
Yeah, I forgot it one day, and it was only like maybe 8 hours or so that I forgot it was on.
I've had mine that I've forgotten it for 2-3 days. It's no big deal, but
I was like, oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, I was just brought up in a house where you got in trouble if you walked out of the room, left the light on.
Yeah.
So on my CNC, of course, I'm running in mine a lot of times while I'm in here doing something else and watching it on the camera. But as soon as I'm done running it, my routine is hit reference all home, because my reference spot is at the back right, so it gets it out of the way. I can take the blank off and everything. And then when it gets to the home position, as soon as it gets there, I go ahead and flip my switch to turn my drive box off. And, then I have another switch. I turn my VFD off, and then I just shut the computer down.
In my case, it's sitting behind me, and even though it's in an enclosure, that when it's running, it's very, very quiet. When it's quiet and it's just on, I've got the fan for the VFD, I've got the fan for the computer, I've got the fan for the controller. Those fans, they get noisy after a while. They just get on my nerves. So
yeah, they got that whine or whatever to them, that when it's real quiet and you hear it, it's annoying. It's annoying. But yeah, now I have left mine on, Mike. If I'm well, like say if I'm going to go grab something to eat. Now I usually go ahead and turn the drive box off. Just again, well, I'm not using it. Let me turn it off. But I'll leave the computer booted up with Mach 3. A lot of times I'll leave that on if I'm going to run and grab some lunch or something like that. And I have forgotten, left it on overnight too. But most of the time I go ahead and turn stuff off if I'm not using it. Even if I'm in the middle of, we've talked about how you can shut, at least the machines I design, you can shut them, tell them to go to your 0 point and then shut them off and come back 3 days later and start right back up where you left off, as long as you remember the line number you were on. So anywho, all right, we got still 80 folks watching. Anybody got any questions before we wrap this one up?
I don't see any questions at the moment.
Yeah, good point, Lyle. If you like this show, you should hit the like button. Or if you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. I don't care. I'll end up with about 8 or 9 of them later on anyway.
Patrick, I have to address that. He says he has a Shapeoko and a Gatton. I know from my early days when the Gatton wasn't completely built, despite the fact you have all the parts completely, an unbuilt Gatton is not a Gatton.
It's just a Gat.
It's official.
Yeah, it's
a bunch of parts. Film that thing running. And by the way, for all of you that do have a Gatton and do appreciate, Dave doesn't know I'm saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. For all of you that own a Gatton, I'm sure Dave would greatly appreciate it if you have a YouTube channel. Show the Gatton working. I mean, do a little shout out to Dave, a little thank you for all the selfless acts that he gives of himself, or whatever you want to call it. I'm sure he would appreciate. He always mentions to me in private how he would love to see more videos of Gattons out there. So
yeah,
please do.
I mentioned before, I always love seeing like on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, where people post their projects and and they say, this is, I made this on my Gatton CNC, because I love seeing the fantastic work that people make with these things. But it would be nice to see the actual machine running once in a while. There's very, very, very few videos out there. I probably got more videos of it running than anybody.
Yeah, they're kind of like, Gattons are kind of like Home Depot employees. There's so many of them out there, but nobody actually sees one working.
Yeah, and you know what Patrick always says, video or it didn't happen,
There you go.
So anyhow, all right, I guess we're going to wrap this one up. I don't see any other questions out there. Yep, I don't see none. Well, I guess we'll wrap this up. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Like I said, get yourself an old desktop, and even you guys. And I've mentioned this before. I might have said it already tonight. But if you got an old beater laptop with Windows something or other on it, and you're still running the parallel port, I'm not, I don't get a kickback when I mention UC 100. I wish I did. I pay the same thing y'all pay when I buy one, and I bought 3 of them. But do yourself a favor and get one of those things, because that machine will. And I know you might have a parallel port. That's great, but use a USB with that thing, and you will be amazed at the how much smoother it runs. It's just a much steadier pulse. It just runs better, and you'll thank me when you get one of those. I know some folks have already said that. They go, "Yeah, I got one," and you're right. It runs better, but and I kind of learned it by accident, because the main reason I bought a UC 100 was because I still had a computer that had a parallel port, but when I went to use the old laptops, they don't have them, so I had to get one. And then when I finally thought, in fact, the desktop that I use out there, or one of them that I use out there in the garage, has a parallel port, but I don't use it. I use a USB and use that UC 100. And that's how, when I did it, I'm like, wow, that's running a lot smoother with that. So, yeah. And like I said, the UC 100 is the cheap CNC motion controller. Austin Wood says, what is Dave talking about? I hope if you're asking about the UC 100, it's a CNC motion controller. I didn't bring one in here, but I mean, there's not much to it. It's just a little bitty thing. It's got a parallel connection so that you can use with your control box, but then it runs, instead of having to have a parallel connection on your computer, you have a USB cable that connects to your computer. And now, instead of Windows generating the pulse, it's done with that UC 100 or 300 or 400, whichever, and it's much smoother. It's just a better deal. I've never seen anybody get one and say they don't like it.
Yes, it's similar to the Arduino for the X-Carve, except not a toy.
Bob Stone says, Dave, where is your Facebook for Gatton CNC? If you go to Facebook and search Gatton CNC, you can't miss it. It's there's a Gatton CNC Facebook, and I think all the links to these are in the show notes down there. So if you click show more and drop that down, you can should be able to go to. I think I've got a link to it.
I got it right now.
But yeah, it's just Gatton CNC on Facebook, and then I also have one for the GarageWorks CNC. They're both closed groups. They used to be open, but they're closed groups now. So you can click ask to join, and there'll be like 3 simple questions that'll ask you just to weed out the bots and the weirdos, and and then you get approved and come in there.
Yep.
Ryan Ballard says, did you hear about the Inventables controversy this week? Oh, do tell. Anybody know?
Nope.
I don't know. I don't. Oh, Troy Pritchard just says, I got the CNC Routers Essential book last week. I don't have mine in here, but I think I'm going to make, I think I'm going to get maybe 1 or 2 of those and have those as prizes for the CNC Christmas Challenge too. So, yeah, the Gatton CNC Facebook group is not hard to find. Just search it on Facebook and you'll find it. Just search Gatton CNC. And we have now, I don't have Facebook open right at the moment. But we have getting close to 800 members, I think.
Ryan said they increased the prices Monday and did a Black Friday deal that was still more than it cost last week. The Inventables.
Well, that's not very cool, is it?
That's just wrong.
Do they think people aren't smart enough to do the math? Of course, I guess if you're looking to buy an Inventables, you're not.
I was, you beat me to it. I didn't want to say it publicly, but I was thinking it.
Yeah. I tease about X carves all the time because I remember when they first come out, and I don't know, they still use those flimsy little belts. I'm sorry. But
haven't seen a perfectly round circle yet.
There's some people that have them that make great stuff, but they're patient and take a long time to make something because you can't take big cuts and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, whatever. They got to make back for all the free machines they gave out. Yeah, they gave out a bunch of them. And what's sad is a lot of those big YouTube maker type folks that they gave them to didn't even use them. So whatever. Oh, and I saw something. Somebody said Leroy CNC Woodworks Dave Gatton Forum. The Dave Gatton Community Forum is on. There's a link to that in the show notes, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But it's in the GarageWorks CNC website is where I put it. I had two websites and I had to pick one to put the forum on. I just happened to pick that one.
And but if you are a millennial and need stuff done for you, I am putting the link in the chat right now.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to make any millennial jokes tonight.
Oh, that's all I'd like to do.
All right, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you all so much. If you enjoyed the show or whatever, please hit thumbs up on the way out. And leave comments, man. I don't get many comments on this stuff. If you got a topic or something you'd like for us to talk about or show, demonstrate during the show, put a comment there, or you almost have to wait till it comes back, because if you put it in the chat, I guess the chat comes back now, but I probably still wouldn't see it because I don't rewatch my own show. That'd be just too weird. So, all right, so we're gonna wrap this one up. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk about something next week. Now, Javi, you're not going to be here next week, or are you going to try to do a remote?
I will be. I could be. Yes, I'll be here for your show. I just don't have access to a computer.
Well, if you can't make it, I'm wondering if I could get Matt Haas from Awesome Wood Things to fill in.
I'm sure we can.
I wonder if he would come on the show. Because he's got that good radio voice too, like you do.
I'm sure in about 15 seconds after the lag, we'll see that he's more than up for it. Hopefully.
I just saw him scroll. He says, "Good show, Dave." That's why I said that.
Yep.
Yes, I'll do it. Okay. All right. Well, we need to have you on the show anyway, man. You just plan on next Saturday. If you're not doing nothing, come on and join us. Even if Javi shows up, more the merrier. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Stay out of them crazy stores. Good Lord. Have you seen the stuff on the news?
I don't watch the news. I don't go to stores. I just woodwork.
Yeah, I'm an online shopper. I don't do the Black Friday or any of that stuff. It was a mess. They had stuff on the news. It's crazy, ridiculous. So anyway, all right, we're out of here. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, all.